So there was a big shooting today. Happened in my state. Sorry to hear that. It's awful. It's terrible that this happened. Absolutely terrible. 2 dead and 10 seriously injured. Yeah, so it could be more.
Welcome back. It's 10:29 a.m. Eastern Time, and we are getting very disturbing reports of a shooting at a Minneapolis Catholic church.
Yep.
Governor Tim Walz saying that a shooter was inside the church in Minneapolis, and we are working to get some more information. Thankfully, Bill Malugin is here, and he's got some great sources, as you all know, and let's just get a little description of what we know. This is very, very early stages. And as we bring you this news.
Yeah, so this all happened apparently at Annunciation Church in the city of Minneapolis.
It's a church or school? Both. It was a religious school. It was a Catholic religious school. That's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. It says Catholic school.
I'm hearing from multiple law enforcement sources, including Minneapolis law enforcement sources and federal, that this does sound to be significant and serious. And they're being told that there are, quote, multiple casualties here. We don't want to talk about any numbers yet or any possible fatalities, but we are told this does sound to be very significant, very serious, with multiple casualties reported. Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, tweeting out that this was a, quote, horrific act of violence.
Yeah, I bet.
As we wait for details on what happened here, the ATF posted on X that they are responding to reports of a, quote, active shooter. The FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino tweeting out that the FBI is en route to the scene as well. Local media putting reports out as well. No status, no update yet on a possible shooter, if this is still active, if that potential shooter is down or still a threat. Still waiting on those details. But Dana, as we know with these mass shootings,
That's
a lot
insane.
of information comes out quickly. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's erroneous.
Yeah.
But based off this law enforcement response,
Had
and some of
"Kill
the tweets
Trump" written on the gun.
we're seeing from public officials, including the Minneapolis mayor and Governor Tim Walz, it does sound like something, unfortunately, very horrible and significant has happened at this church in Minneapolis.
And the city of Minneapolis is reporting there's no active threat to the community.
So they did get his ass, which is what is important, right? And so that is good. But apparently the FBI is going to investigate this. And I'll look at some more. This literally just came out. And I'll look at some more stuff about the shooter after this. He killed himself. W. Huge W. Did something right.
Welcome back. Breaking right now, FBI Director Kash Patel just posted on X, quote, "The FBI is investigating this shooting as an act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime targeting Catholics. There were 2 fatalities, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. In addition to those lives lost."
So you killed an 8-year-old? Bro, this is a nutball, bro. Like, what the fuck?
14 children and 3 adults
What?
have been injured. A bunch of them remain in
Who
critical
does this?
condition. The shooter has been identified as Robin Westman, born Robert Westman. The FBI is going to continue to.
So they are trans. Is this? It seems like that. This actually what's happening. What is this? Oh, this looks like what normal people write on their books. Ah ha ha! Yes. Right. That's of course. You can't show that's considered manifesto. Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, I guess. Okay. Well, you guys didn't see that. Did you guys see that? No, you didn't.
Provide updates on our ongoing investigation with the public as we are able. Let's go ahead and bring in retired NYPD Inspector Paul Morrow, an attorney, also a Fox News contributor. Paul,
I don't think it's a W. I want him crucified publicly. It's a waste of money. It's better just. I mean, honestly, like if they kill themselves, like that is such a it because then the person doesn't get made out to be an icon. They don't get any media attention. They're just dead. They're dead. That's a huge, huge W. Massive W.
Do you think they
we
are
don't
now
spend money
pursuing
on
this
it
as an act of terrorism?
Look, they may have some indicia that there was this animus toward a particular religious group, which would make it a hate crime.
Well,
and
you
potentially-
look at and this is the thing is that like if I go, I mean, if it says get clapped, where is your God? I mean, I'm gonna be real. This looks like a motherfucking hate crime. I think it's, geez, guys. I wonder what's going on here. Yeah, this is it. You're talking about that? Of course. Yeah, of course we're going to talk about it. Yeah, look at the videos. I don't want to because that actually is the manifesto. I mean, a picture is not really a thing. But, like, what is this? Oh, right. Here we go. Here's another indicator. A picture of Jesus Christ with his head there at a shooting target. Oh, good. Oh, great. There we go. Actually sad? Yeah, it really is. This is insane. What a fucking freak. Yeah, you can't. A Torbell. I wish I didn't listen to watch. No, yeah, I can't. I can't do it. He was a Satanist. It's common in that community for trans people. I don't know if they are or not.
An act of terrorism.
I don't know.
If you have a mass shooting carried out for an ideological purpose,
100%. I mean, really, bro. Like there's no question that it's ideal. Like if it's not, how could you even say it's not?
To say if you get violence plus an ideological purpose, you get into the terrorism area. But let's be clear: at the federal level,
like kill Trump on his gun.
You almost always need some connection to a foreign power. So the hate crime angle relative to this at the federal level is far more likely than it would be a terrorism case. But look, it's good that they're checking the boxing.
It's obviously a hate crime. It's obviously.
They're looking at it that way. And they may have found something. You know, they may have had an interview with somebody who told them this, or they already got into the computer. There may be something there.
Could a terrorism designation kind of give the investigators more resources, or some kind of a benefit in pursuing, whatever information can be gleaned about this? Now that the guy's dead.
In a practical sense, in a case like this, it's unlikely that it's going to matter.
I don't want to misgender the shooter. Corpses don't have genders.
Terrorism case, the reason you want that designation as a terrorist entity is because what you get then is that anything that's done in furtherance of that terrorist group, let's just say it's Al-Qaeda for the sake of argument, right, in their different incidents, anything you do that's in furtherance of that, think of it as conspiracy, anything that you're doing in furtherance of the
manifesto
group
is written all in
chargeable.
Russian.
And so that's why you like that bigger designation, because it takes you into...
You got to keep in mind that, like, this is always my opinion, is that whenever you try to unravel the mind of a person that goes into a Catholic school and kills children, you cannot logically deduce rationale in the same way that you could for, like, why somebody goes to the grocery store. This is not a person of sound mind. It's not a person that is, in control of the mental facilities. They have transcended all ideology, all political thinking, all conventional wisdom, and they have just turned into complete psychopaths. This is you have to remember this. They're out of their mind. Brain is broken.
Sort of a group, and anything you're doing
demonic
on behalf
possession
of the group, like a RICO charge, anything you're doing on behalf of this group ends up being chargeable. But again, at the federal level, and this is why I've been somebody, and people disagree with me on this, and reasonable minds can disagree. I get it, but I have often advocated that we should be looking hard at a domestic terrorism charge, which can be modeled on the state terrorism charges that do exist around the country.
I don't know about that.
And that is simply violence for an ideological purpose, and you don't need necessarily a
maybe that's a good
protected
idea
class like a religion or a particular ethnicity.
Yeah, maybe he's right about that.
For an ideological purpose, that would get you to a terrorism charge. We don't have that, and so likely, I think, if the feds do charge here, it'll be more in the hate crime area, unless some
it's
fact
definitely
that we
a
don't know
hate
about
crime.
now
I mean, that's obvious.
Well, and does any of this? I mean,
like,
not
everybody
to be crude,
can see
but
that.
This guy is a murderer. He is now dead. Does it matter?
No.
Rip
He's dead,
Bozo.
so it doesn't really matter in terms of the investigation. I mean, just to be blunt about it, like I said, unless he does end up getting linked to a group.
Yeah.
And let's take the terrorism charge out. Let's say he ends up being linked to a domestic group, let's say a hate group. Well, then it does matter, because what it
Sure.
allows you to do then is to start to scrape into that group. You can make it a conspiracy. You can configure it as a group of people who look to do something like this. And
got
what I've been name
clapped. He
checking all
did.
day is the thing that we had out in California where that guy bombed the fertility clinic. I don't remember his name, and I don't want to say it anyway. But while that didn't end up being a group, we all went away
That
thinking,
guy's just
okay,
another nutball antinatalist. He wanted to have everybody die in the world. He's just a nutball. I remember him.
one and done. That case is over. The guy blew himself
By the way,
up.
it didn't even work.
Nothing else to worry about.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, they charge a second piece. They're going to go all the way on this because of how horrific it is. You can rest assured, federal, state, local, doesn't matter. They're going all the way.
I want to go ahead now and bring in correspondent Bill Malugin. He's been digging into the details all day. He has also covered many school shootings.
Yeah, who is this guy?
An unenviable beat to be on. But Bill, Trey Gowdy pointed out on our air earlier today that it seems over and over and over again these mass shooters are young American men, usually in their 20s.
Yeah, that's
It's obvious.
certainly seems to be the case. We don't really know why, but that's the profile that's being fit in this one as well. Just looking at some of the information we're getting about the shooter here, identified as Robin Westman. Fox News obtaining the paperwork that back in 2019, his parents filed in the state of Minnesota to allow him to change his name from Robert to Robin. And on that paperwork, it's
2015. How old is this person? How old are they? Does anybody know? 23? Oh, 2019? I heard wrong. Excuse me. Okay, so that's basically as soon as they turned 18.
I said it's because he identified as female, so that was the reason for that name change. But you talk about like the profile of these young guys committing these shootings. That certainly does seem to be the case pretty much every time we have one of these high-profile ones. It was the case in Uvalde, which I covered a few years ago. It was the case in Sandy Hook. Now, thankfully, 90%
of these shooters are young men in their 20s. Like as I said, I had the whole thing about it. Where the fuck is it? I don't know really. Yeah, is this it? No, this is some other bullshit. Like I'm not even sure. But there's definitely like a huge fucking trend here. We can all see the trend here.
Doesn't appear this incident's going to be as bad, but you look at some of the things that are floating around online right now in terms of some of the writings. There's that manifesto flying around. We're obviously talking about a very sick individual here. It's going to take a while to figure out what, if any, motive there was here. You guys have been talking about the FBI.
Well, it's obvious what the motive is. This person hated Catholics and they hated religion. It's pretty obvious. I mean, if you look, I mean, like this. We don't know what the motive is. I mean, I understand that, like from a legal perspective, that's what you're going to say. But like, let's just go ahead and be realistic here. We know exactly what the motive is. They wrote down what the motive is. Like they said what the motive was. Like it's not even a question. What's the Russian text? I have no idea how the Russian part of it plays into it.
Announcing they're going to potentially investigate this as domestic terrorism, and rightfully so. This shooter apparently knew these kids were going to be there in mass, in class, at that time of the day, and just decided to post up outside with 3 weapons, as we found out. The police saying he came with a rifle, with a shotgun, and with a handgun. And, I've been listening to the sound bites of those children witnesses. You have a 10-year-old kid saying that, how terrifying it was to have bullets come flying through the stained glass.
Yeah.
You had the one little boy say his friend Victor laid on top of him to protect him, took a round. I mean, think about it. A little boy potentially taking a high-velocity round from a rifle, being shot at from a nut job in a parking lot. He's one of the boys in the hospital recovering right now. And at the end of the day,
Victor. Holy shit.
2 young children dead, Jillian, ages 8 and 10, 17 others injured, 14 of which are children. Again, you were texting me about this earlier, and it's a perspective that's worth talking about. It's first week of school for these kids. This is the last thing they should be worrying about. They should be meeting friends and meeting their teachers and having a good time. But this person, for whatever reason, We'll see.
See, I get. Well, you just look at them. You look at the kind of stuff they were saying and acting. Like, this person should have been in a padded room 10 years ago. You should have never let this animal out of their cage. Like this is the problem, and so and I think this is the consequence of this empathy with people like this. They're clearly deranged. They're clearly damaged mentally. These people like trans, not just being. There's plenty of trans people that don't go on shooting rampages. It's not that they didn't go on a shooting rampage because they're trans. They went on a shooting rampage because they're a fucking psycho. Like, I want to say, yeah, it's the issue is that you have people that do this and everybody ignores these signs until it's too late. We need to start locking people like this up as soon as they start acting weird. Like, if someone doesn't know how to act right and they're acting like a fucking psycho, lock them the fuck up. What is this? Why are we allowing our society to be terrorized by these animals? I don't understand.
The investigation plays out, just decided to show up to that parking lot.
Yeah, how do you get so extreme though? Because the person's mentally ill. Like, this is the part of it that you're not understanding. You're trying to rationalize why this is happening and what caused this. I don't really care, and I don't think that you're really going to be able to figure it out. This person's just a nutball, man. They're a nutball. You can't reverse engineer their thinking because there was no thinking.
Post up outside and just start firing dozens of rounds into that church. And again, what we've heard from the witnesses is it was just pretty nonstop. We heard the witness this morning describing it as they thought somebody was working on their roofing nearby because the bang, 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 bang was just so nonstop.
Jesus Christ.
It's just yet another horrific incident. It's unfortunate we have to.
Yeah, it's really fucking bad, man. They can't place ethics and morals on island person. They act and react. Yeah, that's the big issue, right? How are these mentally ill kids getting weapons? I don't know, man. Are you going to pay for him being put in a mental hospital? I would love to have my taxes increased if it meant putting all of these fucking animals in a box. Absolutely. I would love to have my taxes go up and we could put all of these people away and they never come out in public, and it would solve so many problems that we used to have, and they would go away because this would not even exist, right? We smash the box? Yeah, definitely. And then pay 10% more taxes? Yeah, absolutely. And you don't realize how much money we would save in the long run not having to deal with these people in every aspect of society. So much, how do you identify them? You don't have to worry about identifying them. They identify themselves. They self-report. Do you really think this is the first crazy thing this person's ever done? Yeah, no, guaranteed this person's been a lifelong nutball. Yeah, it's just that simple. Let me go back. I'll read a few more of these, but yeah, that's the way that I see it. I don't even think, and I know that a lot of people want to say, oh, it's because they're trans. There's 3 million people in the country that identify as trans. Can you imagine the chaos if they all went out on a shooting rampage? Oh my God. Like, clearly, most trans people don't go out on shooting rampages. It doesn't happen. So, sure, right? I mean, like, you could say gender dysphoria or some form of, like sexual, orientation might be like a corollary, but it's very obviously not a causal factor.
Dealing with these every now and then, and it just makes it so much worse when it's a school involving young children, Jillian. I mean, these kids are so innocent, and here we go again, whether it's Sandy Hook, Uvalde, a school like this. You have these elementary-age kids. You hear the innocence in their voice when they're interviewed by the media.
That's disgusting.
And it's just hard to watch something like that, especially watching the parents show up. Like, when I was at Uvalde, it was so hard because there were parents coming up to us, the media, asking us what information we had and holding up pictures saying, have you seen my little boy? Have you seen my little girl?
And I will say also, by the way, that it is really damaging for it's damaging for the trans movement to have had so many recently of these shooters be trans or be gender confused in one way or another. I think this is like the third or fourth case of something like this happening recently. It's been very problematic. Yeah, exactly, and it's a huge issue.
Can you put it on the news right now? Can you get it out there?
Yeah.
And you just see the panic in their faces. And watching the live shots that we've been doing all day long, you see that, right? Especially, Paul and I were on set together earlier this morning when the parents were first starting to show up, and you can see the panic in their eyes. You can see them looking for their kids. You can see the relief on their faces when they're able to find their kids and bring them out. Imagine being one of those parents who showed up and wasn't immediately able to find their child, or didn't know what hospital they're at, or didn't know what happened to them. It's just horrible stuff. So I understand we're waiting for the press conference with Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Last check we got is that is running about 5 to 10 minutes behind. So we have...
Yeah, fucking bad. I mean, this kind of stuff, it makes it look really bad too. Like, as I said, like anytime that it's like one of these like minority, like kind of like a gender minority thing happen, it gets extremely bad. And I think that also like this is going to feed a lot into like a lot of the existing narratives about it.
We have that live shot popped up for our viewers.
And like you can already see that happening.
We'll wait for them to come out, and we'll see what kind of new developments we get. What, if any, further details we get on this shooter now, as the rest of these children and some of the adults. Do you blame
people? I think that what we will discover as time goes on is that this person was a chronic, crazy retard. And I bet in high school they acted like a crazy, dysfunctional, delusional retard. And they probably were ignored or sidelined. And because of that, they were allowed to effectively just get more and more radicalized until basically they pop off. And that's the issue, is that nobody wants to identify these things whenever they first start happening. And because of that, they evolve into a shooting. I think that's basically where we're at.
Who are injured are still recovering, Jillian.
We are indeed awaiting another news update. We're hoping to hear from the governor, Tim Walz, potentially law enforcement officials, health officials there in the county. Let's go ahead and play that sound you referenced, Bill, a 10-year-old who was on scene today, saw his friends.
It's still partly a trans issue, and here's why. He probably got told he was trans instead of giving him the therapy he needed. I do think that you're right, that a lot of people, and this is what I find to be very confusing, is that these are the same people that want to reemphasize over and over and over that gender is a spectrum, but whenever anybody is gender confused, they're automatically trans. I don't think that's really true. I think there's a lot of people that don't feel completely confident being a man or completely confident being a woman, right? It's very common. And so that's, or completely certain about it, but that doesn't mean that you're the opposite gender just because you don't feel that confidence. He wasn't trans, he was just a Nazi again. Well, he was trans. I mean, like they filed paperwork that he changed his gender. This is, how is this even a debatable topic?
Get injured. It's incredibly difficult to watch, but guess what? We're going to play it because it's important that people see what is going on. Listen.
My friend like ran, someone helped him like run out.
This is sick.
He saw him, he was wearing all black and he had a ski mask on. I went down, so I didn't really look up. I mean, he got shot through the stained glass windows. My friend Victor, he was like laying on top of me, like making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So
that's
that was
crazy.
Really brave of him.
Wow.
All right, let's bring in Ted Williams, former DC homicide detective, also a defense attorney and a Fox News contributor. I don't know, Ted. What do you say to something like that?
You know, Jillian, is just so chilling to hear that young child. That young child, as many of the children that was on this scene, are going to be traumatized by this incident the rest of their life. But let's just look at what happened here. This was a planned, targeted, cold-blooded killing by this guy.
Thank you. Thank you. Fucking exactly. Somebody just says it. It's so obvious. 100%. Like, yeah, you plan this. It's a whole thing. Absolutely.
Without a doubt, when you think about it, when he took two 2x4s, blocked the doors, so individuals who were in that mass praying could not get out, that says a great deal about what he had up his sleeves. He knew that he wanted to maximize carnage in that mass.
And he a fucking retard, too. You want to maximize carnage, you kill 2 people. These guys are losers. They don't even know how to use a gun. Like, that's what's so shocking to me about this, is they're fucking retards. Like, it's amazing. It's actually, like, it's kind of like a blessing that all of the people that go out and do these shootings seemingly can't fucking aim and are retarded.
I think you're going to find as part of the investigation that he has some familiarity.
Yeah, we're lucky they're incompetent, dangerous retards. Yeah.
With that Catholic school, when they were going to have mass, and how he could bring about shooting as many and killing as many as he possibly could.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Paul, I said it earlier in the show. I mean, this bears some striking resemblance to the Nazi pogroms that they carried out in occupied, parts of France and other countries in Western Europe during World War II. Outside of that, I have not personally been exposed to anything like this. What do you make of the idea that, this was an indiscriminate shooting? Do you think
that's not true? It's obviously not true. Anybody saying that's not, anybody saying that is only saying it because they're worried that could, make like their worldview look bad. It's so obvious.
What we know at this moment, which is that he fired from outside the church, substantiate that. Want to flag for our viewers, we see Governor Walz coming out to the sticks. Hopefully he's going to give us an update, but Paul, talk to us until he gets there.
Well, look, one of the things that we can definitely go to, as Ted says, is that this was quite targeted. There's some reporting out from the New York Post and other outlets that perhaps he had a relative who worked at the school at some point.
They're lying. They're trying to cover. That's the reason why. It's obvious.
These facts are all going to emerge, but let's just say that it almost certainly was not an accident that he went there. And what came to my mind, we said it earlier when Bill Maloogian and I were on the air together, was the Nashville event.
Yeah, this would be like going to a mosque to do a shooting and then saying, yeah, this is like, imagine if somebody went to a mosque and they put on the magazines of the gun that they were using, "Where's your Allah now?" Are we really going to act like we don't know what the reason is? It's very obvious what the reason is. How could you not? It's fucking, like, what do you mean? Reddit's mostly scrubbing this on r/news. The top comments are not even about gun control. They're jabs at conservatives, of course. No, well, Reddit's highly moderated. They did with New Zealand. Yeah, I know. And he was a terrorist, piece of shit, psychopath, and I think he died, right? I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but what I'm saying is that it's very obvious that whenever somebody does this, it's a targeted attack. He's in jail. That's too bad.
And we have far fewer facts at that point, but this bears a lot of resemblance to that. And we very well may find, as part of the manifesto or whatever comes out relative to this thing, that he is inspired or was inspired by that. He's a copycat. And we have to be mindful of that going forward, because let's just make sure we're all cognizant that copycats exist.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Yeah, I think that's partially true. I mean, I'll see if there's anything about this. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say. Where is it? Come on, Baldy. Let's hear it.
Good efforts that everyone. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Certainly a day and a news conference that no one wants to be at.
You've been having a lot of those
community
lately.
Behind us, Annunciation Church and School, committed to academics, service, and Catholic values, filled with the first days of school, of beautiful children going to learn those values, share with their teachers and their classmates. And instead of that joy and that curiosity and that learning, they were met with evil and horror and death. And we often come to these and say, these unspeakable tragedies, or there's no words for this. There shouldn't be words for these types of incidents because they should not happen. And there's no words that are going to ease the
Well, you
pain.
have to prevent them from happening ahead of time, and there's always things that you can do to make these things happen less often. And the problem is that these people don't want to take any approaches that are, I think, like antithetical to like their worldviews in order to prevent these things from happening in a big way.
Of the families today. On behalf of all the people of Minnesota, our deepest sympathies.
Yeah.
A wish that any of these words would make what you're feeling now better, but it won't.
Strict gun laws? No, I absolutely think that they should do other things to prevent crazy people from getting guns. Like, I'm a Second Amendment supporter. Like, I support the Second Amendment completely. But, like, that doesn't mean that we should be letting crazy people get guns. You can do both of those for sure. What would prevent this? I think that a lot of these people, this is my opinion, a lot of these people exhibit antisocial and crazy tendencies in middle school and high school. And I think that if you remove them at that point and you institutionalize them, like how many of you guys had a kid like this at your school that acted really weird and like really creepy and stuff like that? Yeah, put them in an asylum. Like I would just put all of them in asylums until they know how to act.
Founded on community.
That's you.
Founded on service, founded on family. I'd like to give special thank you to the mayor and the team in Minneapolis, Minneapolis Police Department.
You also have to keep in mind that like those people create a ripple effect that's problematic that exists beyond just going out in a mass shooting. Like they cause problems at grocery stores, they cause problems at the DMV, they cause problems if they're homeless, they cause problems everywhere. And so there's like a massive amount of funding that is allocated towards micromanaging these very clearly mentally unstable people in society. I think that's what happens. It's a massive amount.
Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, Minnesota State Patrol, the BCA, so many agencies.
Oh, there's a video of somebody dislikes? Well, the reason why is pretty simple. It's just because people don't like Tim Walz, and they don't like the fact that he effectively, they don't like the fact that I think that his brand of politics does not address this in the way that it should.
Our federal partners in the FBI, the first responders, and the heroic work that's happening now.
That's the reason why people are mad.
At multiple medical locations, including Hennepin County Medical Center, where most of our children were transported to receive the life-saving care. The thoughts and prayers and the hopes and the support that we need to give them in this moment, too, is critical. Speaking with all the people here and grateful to our federal partners, Senator.
Or if you were seen as a weird kid in school because you were the metalhead and it was a religious school, not that I don't agree with you, but putting people in mental asylums, but putting kids away because they're weird, what the fuck would you be there? I'd guarantee it. I think that with any sort of system, like with prisons, like right now, like we have prisons right now, there are people in prison that are innocent. Like we all acknowledge that, right? Everybody knows that's true. And so being afraid of having a false positive doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything. It means that you should take effort and try to avoid having false positives. But that doesn't mean, that's not an argument against taking action at all. There's always going to be collateral damage with anything.
Klobuchar speaking early this morning and receiving a call from from President Trump, who was with his leadership team of the Attorney General and the Vice President, expressing their deep condolences amongst the horror that happened and an offer to provide the support to the folks here in Minnesota of what's needed. So there's a lot of cameras here, and unfortunately we have been through these types of things. They will be gone at some point. All of you, you have to do your jobs. But what happened here today will not be gone. Minnesotans will not step away. We'll stand with this.
So your take was more nuanced and he let on? Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, well, it's not even really more nuanced. I mean, it's pretty simple. I think that we need to have a secondary form of incarceration for people that are insane. I think we need to reopen mental institutions and put people in them. Like, that's my opinion.
Community will redouble ourselves to do the best we can to understand what we can do to prevent any parent from having to receive the calls they received today, from any school dedicated to children.
It's gross.
Having to respond to a situation that, as we said, is unthinkable, but that's all too common, not just in Minnesota, but across this country. It's Minnesota's day today, and it's my strongest desire that no state, no community, no school ever experiences a day like this.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I ask the rest of the folks around the country who are watching, keep us in your thoughts and prayers, but also keep us in the thoughts for action. Keep us in the ideas that we can work together. And it's on these days like this, I think, and I hope we can hold on to it, we are unified as a community. Everybody across the country today is part of the Annunciation Parish, and they're with those families. With that, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey.
I'm not going to watch the whole thing.
Thank you, Governor. Throughout the morning, we have seen this extraordinary Minneapolis family step up.
Yeah, let me see if there's any more about this at all. I mean, that's pretty much just the officer.
The identity, the name that I gave you, the age, that is the suspect. That's the person that we believe has caused this.
Okay, let's look at this.
Provide some updated information.
How are the injured students doing? What are their conditions?
The question from Matt was, how are the injured students doing? I believe all of them have their parents with them now. And they
That's
are all
good.
expected to survive. All of the remaining victims are expected to survive.
That's
There's
huge.
a range of injuries, however.
Chief, you said the weapons were acquired legally. Do we know when
Yes.
and where they were acquired?
I can tell you they were purchased recently.
Chief, can you tell us anything more about a possible motive here? We've also heard reports that the suspected shooter
Sorry about the audio, by the way.
police here at some point. Can you confirm that as well?
Okay. So the question was on a possible motive and a relationship to the church or to the school. I have no information to share on a motive other than saying again that there was some sort of manifesto that was timed to come out on YouTube.
Nobody knows what the motive is. Nobody has any idea. It's a mystery. Yeah, it's a mystery. Now, I understand, by the way, that as a police officer, you're not going to come out and shoot first and ask questions later. Sure. But let's be honest. We all know what the motive was.
YouTube, it's been taken down, and our investigators are going through that to try and develop a motive from that. Additionally, there are these 3 search warrants happening in residential locations. And we may very well, find more information or writings that could give some sense to that, but we don't have that now. And I cannot confirm a relationship between the suspect or his family and this church at this time, but that's obviously something we're looking very closely at.
No surprise there.
At this point, whether it was in fact by the suspect, or you believe at this point that it is in fact from him. And second question.
What was by the suspect? I'm sorry.
Manifesto that you've been talking about.
Yep. So the question was about the manifesto. We do believe it was by the suspect, yes.
And we understand that we've seen some documents about the name change that somebody with the same name as the suspect has filed for. few years ago.
Yep.
Do you believe this to be the same person, that Robin Westman, who is in fact born with a different name at this point? And can you speak a little bit more about the identity?
Yep. So the question was about the suspect, and he had a name change at some point in the past. I cannot confirm that, other than confirming the identity, the name that I gave you, the age. That is the suspect. That's the person that we believe has caused this.
Chief, you mentioned these videos posted on YouTube, seemingly scheduled to be posted right after the shooting. Is there anything that the suspect posted days prior, months prior?
Is that he? Well, yeah. It's already confirmed, yeah.
Yep. So the question was, we mentioned that the YouTube
Court
videos were
documents got
scheduled
posted,
to be posted. Is there anything else in social media that may shed some light into this? We do not have information on that at this time that I'm able to share. However,
He was trans and exhibited racism, anti-Christianity, anti-Semitism, anti-capitalism, homophobia. He was literally just retarded. No need to single out any one thing. Yeah, I've said this before. With a lot of these people, like, you can't really discern a particular motive from them.
our investigators and our law enforcement partners are definitely
Yeah, it's a raving lunatic. Yes, exactly.
Children and parishioners were in the church when this happened.
So the question was, how many children and parishioners were in the church when this happened? This was towards the beginning of Mass, so some of the children were already filed into the church and were seated. Others were coming in. I've heard estimates, but we will release a more definitive number.
That's wild.
Minneapolis police officers have had a couple of days. I know we're talking about the children
Yep.
in this incident, but there were several shootings yesterday.
Yep.
How is the resource thing going for you? Are you getting help from other places?
Yep. So Sue's question was resources for Minneapolis police due to the other challenges we've had the last 24 hours. Obviously, this has been the most difficult. The dozens of officers that responded to this scene, many of them are deeply traumatized by what they saw.
Yeah, I wonder why.
As are obviously
Absolutely.
all of the children,
Holy fuck.
all of the staff members, Father Dennis, everyone who was at Mass this morning. So obviously that has been our number one priority, is to care for the health and wellness of the officers and that responded here. Additionally, obviously, we have responded to other challenging situations and other acts of violence. I can say, in regard to the shooting that happened outside of the high school yesterday, we have arrested 2 people for assisting in that shooting. We have not gotten the shooter yet, but we believe we have 2 people
That's
under
another shooting. Oh my
arrest that
God.
were present with the shooter when that happened,
Jesus.
and we're making significant progress. There was an additional arrest at a homicide last night that happened on the 2700 block of 3rd Avenue.
Bro. Oh my God. Being a cop must suck so much fucking dick, bro. Like, can you imagine having to deal with this shit all the time? And it's like, wow. That just sucks.
South.
Yeah.
That person has
Imagine
not
that, man.
been booked specifically for being responsible for that murder, but we believe that is the person who caused that. So,
First time you've ever had to deal with a shooting?
no, unfortunately not. Yep.
A lot of the politicians here, the principal and others have said that this can never happen again. I'm just wondering.
This can never happen again. Okay, this is just what politicians say. There have been 44 school shootings in the U.S. of this year's August 27th. I think that, like, there's a big difference between, like, a shooting that shootings that happen near schools are categorized as school shootings. But I think that there's a very big difference whenever a person goes into a school and tries to kill people inside of the school, and a shooting occurs near a school. Like, these are just 2 different things.
Yeah, so the question was, where do we start to make sure this doesn't happen again? I don't have an answer for that at this time.
Yeah.
Do you understand from the federal that there is an idea that this might be investigated, maybe it already is, I'm not sure my information, as a hate crime against Catholics? I'm asking you, perhaps, Archbishop, is this a line of investigation that you have open to comment on that?
So the question is this an investigation into a hate crime against Catholics?
Obviously.
We don't have a motive at this time. Obviously, we're open to
Obviously
any
it is.
possibilities at all.
Yeah.
But we don't have a motive or anything to suggest that.
If there is any
Obviously it is. It's not even a question. Like, I mean, this is not even, like, everybody, it is. I mean, he's not going to say that because he's the police and they've got to, They've got to be 100% sure before they say something. But we all know where this is going.
Safety, any more protective measures that are implemented at other Catholic schools throughout the Twin Cities or churches? I'm sure there are masses going around right now this afternoon.
Yeah.
It's just a week out from, or a few days before the start of school.
Yeah. So the question is the concern for other churches, other schools around the metro.
Nah, it's just one
unfortunately, this is something that our community has been dealing with for some time. The threat of active shooters, the threat of hate crimes at houses of worship, unfortunately, is not something new here. And of course, our precinct inspectors, our crime prevention specialists are available to work with both houses of worship, churches, and schools that do reach out to assist in any additional security measures or advice that we can offer them.
About that to follow up, are you aware if this is the first time that actually a Catholic mass has been targeted and there have been victims inside a Catholic church during mass? In the Twin Cities, not in the
Wow.
In the Twin Cities?
I'm unaware of any other.
Yeah, from the question was, is this the first time that there's been attack of Catholics at mass in the Twin Cities area? The Archbishop is unaware of any other attack.
Are they going to charge a corpse? I've never seen premeditated shooting that was a love crime. Oh, I'm just saying in general, as a Hispanic-born America, I'm just saying we have to stop pushing these white people in the corner. I think that I think that you have different, like each different race of people, there's like a different outlet that, like for example, like gang violence is primarily minority violence, but I think that also these school shootings and stuff like this is like I think generally it seems like a lot of white people do these, right? At the end of the day, these are all branches from the same tree. They're all, it's all, again, because like if you look at the profile of the individual, take race out of it, a lot of the other things line up.
Saying that this is being investigated as domestic terrorism. Are you also tracking this?
The question was, is it being investigated by the FBI?
FBI director saying this is domestic terrorism. Is that what you're tracking?
Well, the FBI is here with us and has been a part of this entire investigation, as well as the ATF, other law enforcement. It's being led right now by the Minneapolis Police Department, and we are looking at, obviously, any possibilities from wherever the evidence will lead us from what we recover. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Thank you so much for your time today, for your support. Thank you.
Well, there it is. I don't think there's really any more information about this right now, at least on here. And I'm going to pull up a little bit more information about it on Twitter, because Twitter does have a lot more people that are talking about it. So anyway, we've got right here, this is the new shooter. Let me go back. I'll see if I can find it here. Where the fuck did it go? Fuck, let me try to remember. What was it called? Oh, Minneapolis. Well, I guess actually I can, yeah, there it is. Okay, so this is the person, this is the shooter, this is what happened. And so we can just look at this, because this is all the information for like what's happening right now. And updates on the shooting in Minnesota. And let me go back, I'll see if we can find this. 2 fatalities, which is good. Glad it's not more, obviously, because there were 10 people that were wounded. 14 children were wounded. Usually it starts with a certain amount and then it goes up over time. But looks like that's not what happened, which is good. Accurate. Okay, FBI. Shooter's been identified as Robin Westman, a male born as Robert Westman. Okay, so then it's definitely that this person is trans. Arrest the parents. This person, I don't know why you would say this. The person is 23 years old. I mean, why are the parents are responsible for a 23-year-old's behavior. And when you affirm a mental illness instead of treating it, people get hurt. I think that there's a lot of people that do this too. I mean, like you could say that it's a trend. Oh, here we go. Kill Donald Trump. Oh, here we go. Yeah, great. Right. Okay, good. So now we have a nutball. Yep. For the children. Yeah, this guy's crazy. I can't look at I'm sure this is technically a manifesto, right? So we're not going to do it. Oh my fucking God. Well, there it is. Holy shit. Actually an unhinged lunatic? Yes, an actual unhinged lunatic. Absolutely. How do you start thinking something like that makes sense? How do you get like that? I don't know. I think that there's a lot of ways that something like this happens over time. I mean, I have no idea. A shooter is a 22-year-old biological male transgender who posted a manifesto on YouTube out of respect to the investigations and withholding specifics. Yep, there it is again. Holy fucking shit, man. Is this something that this person posted? I do think that, like, because this is the like you see this kind of stuff a lot on Twitter. We need to start banning and deplatforming these people that post this stuff. Like, at what point is it obvious that these very clearly and very obviously deranged animals destroy Hayas, such as life? Like, what is this? Burn Israel. Not looking good. Yep, not looking good at all. Kill Trump now. Oh boy. 6 million wasn't enough. So we have a Jew hater, Donald Trump hater, Christian hater. Yep. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Another trans shooter is becoming a big problem. I mean, I again, like, I will say 100%, it does look really, really bad. And I think the issue is that there are a lot of, like, I'll just say it the way it is. A lot of people might not like this. That's why I'm going to do it. The amount of, like, LGBT people that very openly and just brazenly advocate for and celebrate violence against people that don't acknowledge their lifestyle as being legitimate needs to be zero. The amount of people that should be doing that on social media, the goal number of that should be zero. And right now it's socially tolerated in a way that I think is completely unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. Nobody should be taking this seriously at all. And well, they should be in a way. 10-minute video of the guy showing off all his guns. We're not going to be watching that for obvious reasons. And so, yeah. So anybody mostly agree? Yeah, like anybody who's posting, and I'm not saying advocating for, you know, every trans person or every LGBT person to, like, go to jail. I mean, that's stupid. But, like, I mean, we don't have enough space for that, realistically, even if we wanted to. The real problem is, like, this type of messaging needs to get you on a watch list. It does. This, like, at a certain point, whenever you have people that are constantly, like, I don't know why Kash Patel fired all these people from the fucking FBI, whenever what they really should have been doing is you should have had all of those people and reallocate them into figuring out where all these psychos are on social media and then putting them in jail. That's the problem, right? Actual calls to violence should be treated seriously. Yes, exactly. And I think that there's a huge problem where I think that in general, LGBT people that do this are, I think, given a pass. I think they are. On social media, it's become socially acceptable for any people that are part of these gender minorities to express, justify, or in any way or another rationalize violence. And I think this is even true. LGBT is definitely, like, part of it, and it's majority trans. It is. It's always. I've said this before. It's majority trans whenever these things happen, and I think that there's a lot of reasons for that, and, you know, we can get into that, but that doesn't really matter right now. I think that in general, though, you're right that a lot of left-wing thinkers and a lot of left-wing people unironically think that violence is a solution to problems. And I mean, like, in some cases it kind of is, but, like, in a war. But the problem is that they're advocating for it on a personal level. Like, you know, punching Nazis, etc. Like, shooting people you don't agree with, you know, etc. We need to stomp this out. And I've been trying to advocate for this for years now, because I know where this is going. I'm going to tell you where this is going. This is going to be more censorship, more control, more oversight, less privacy, and in general, less ability for people to express themselves in general.